And welcome back to Trip to the Mound. We are the iBaseballChannel podcast, Roy Giovanoni and Mike Lacoste. Again, we've sent our congratulations out to the Kansas City Royals on a job well done, and now we're waiting to see who's going to join them in the squared circle, so to speak. It's going to be a very interesting World Series based on what Kansas City's bringing. But again, we're not done in Frisco yet. There's still a lot of baseball to be played, and as we've seen by the way these games go, each game has like 3 games within itself, which is just sometimes a little too wild for our viewing audience, but we'll get into that afterwards.
There's some action after the game even.
Yes, there is. Yeah, well, unfortunately. But again, let's start with the game. What did you see last night?
I saw, the pitching that was going on. That's the first thing that I look at, and I see right away that Vogelsong is not even the same guy. He's what you call under his pitches, okay? I'm sure if you slowed that down, he's going to be looking at it, and it's just the difference, Roy, of being, right here on the baseball at release point as to being like that. The hand just gets under it a little bit and gives it that little push at the end instead of that pull downward, and that was causing him to get that ball up. And so, trying to find that, he's all over. His location was poor. His breaking ball was not as sharp. And he was falling behind in the hitters, just complete, not the same guy, but battled through it. And the Giants made some outrageous defensive plays. The Panda was just off the charts.
Yes, he was.
I mean, the guy is amazing. This guy is a phenomena. First of all, we'll talk about it. We might create a phenomena on our own for the Panda, and then you have this defense. Yeah. So then I started taking a look at the Cardinals starter Shelby Miller, and they're squaring some balls up. They're outs. But again, I'm seeing a command issue to me. But then, of course, the next thing you know, it's 4-1, and I was thinking, it's still. I think it might just happen, and then all of a sudden, there comes the second run, and then. And then, of course, I posted, some stuff on there, and I put the old "Here We Come" thing, and boys, you saw things happened. That to me, that was kind of like the first part of the game, right?
Yes.
The first and the third quarter.
Yeah. And then, of course, fantastic bullpen management in the 7th inning. And I think this, even the announcers are saying this is a bullpen game. You got game 4 of the series. You're not sure how much you're going to get out of each respective starters. And as it was,
Matheny, I tell you what, I would have been really mad.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I might have blown up. Yeah, he took him out of there quickly.
Yes, he did. Yeah. And then again, that was a little bit of the beginning of the downfall. Randy Choate had one of those things where, again, this was a guy that threw the ball away in the previous game, and you saw when he had the ground ball hit to him. He basically sprinted it over there and handed it to Adams in his glove, because you could tell he's not a guy that, like you were saying, he's not used to throwing like that.
Yeah. He probably would have, if there was no first baseman, he probably would have been more than willing just to go ahead and run it on over there, because I'm telling you, they're still in his head on that. After I watch his throwing mechanics, he's gonna have to work on that. He'll be in spring training next year. They'll be working on him big time.
Yes.
So then you have that that little comebacker to him, and that was kind of funny. We saw the expressions on Matheny's face, because he knows he was happier, and he was real happy for that young man.
Yeah. And
then our guy comes in with the big bright uniform, Petit, and he does his thing again and just strikes out the side. And to me, that is, even though it didn't look like it, I believe that either it at least maintained that little bit of edge and maybe a little bit of momentum shift that could have just throw right back in your face and said, "Nah, I don't think so."
I think you even remarked about that.
I did.
Facebook.
I put that on there, a little bit.
Yes.
You're not playing. This is the big leagues. You're not playing with kids over here.
Yep.
I didn't know what picture to share, but I thought it was pretty cute. But anyway, yeah. So now we're in the midst of this, like you say, this bullpen game.
Yeah.
And
then come down to the 7th inning on the Giants end. Bochy was masterful in that. Affelt into Machi and then into Lopez to finish it out. But again, you said this was another big point of the game too.
To me, this was you look at the games, and you can go back, and I'm sure we can pick more because the umpire missed some real clutch pitches.
Yes.
Before this, and not trying to be, it's nice to try to be unbiased at time. And I will say that this pitch was missed.
And
you
you're
don't
talking
see
about the
this
3-0
called.
pitch to Matt Adams, correct?
Exactly. So the 3-0 pitch could have been ball forward right away, which could have caused some real problems. It gets called strike one. A nice little makeup, and we'll take it, because you feel like everybody says they all equal out. Well, okay, so there's one for the kitty over here,
Yeah.
and he comes back and gets him out. And
Yep.
see, to me, that was a huge turning point in that game, because that could have gone the other way real quick if he walks him right there.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. And then, of course, then they hold it out. But even in that, until the last breath, the Cardinals were still in it. You had, because in the Giants' bottom half of the 7th inning, you had the point where they run themselves out at home plate, which keeps it at a 2-run game. 2 runs with the Cardinals in any given inning is striking distance. And in the 8th and the 9th, they both showed flashes of being able to almost get there, but again, not quite. Casilla was fantastic out of the bullpen again.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to send him and Buster, I'm afraid, over to the dunce corner. I mean, you cannot make a 2-strike pitch like that in the 9th inning. He's got him.
You're talking about the one that Jay hits back
hit.
up.
Yes, sir. He's got him set. He's got to bounce. He's got to bounce it. He can't even come close to that strike zone. The way the crowd was in it, he had him. He was going to swing no matter what, and he just threw him a strike.
Yeah,
did him a favor. So we're going to have to give him a little timeout for that.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
That made me nervous a little bit, because hey, look at the guy coming up, man. That guy's real dangerous. That wind's blowing too, man.
And you can see that he's starting to get a feel for it.
Like he's starting to hang in there, and you betcha he's got
Yes.
a feel for it. He's seeing the ball pretty good, and he can go out of there right field. He can go out of there in that Bermuda Triangle thing, or whatever that thing's called, Scouts Alley, or whatever that's called out there. He can go there anywhere in that park if he gets a hold of one.
He drives it low and hard.
Yeah,
yes,
he'll hit a 2-iron right out of there.
Yeah.
So he made me a little nervous. I was confident, though, in the young man's stuff out there. It's just he's got tremendous stuff, and man, he made 2 off the chart pitches, the pitches that actually I tried to make when I was when I was out there, and that's that backdoor breaking ball to the left-hander that they completely give up on. It comes back and hits that outside corner, and see you later.
Yep.
Go grab some pine. And then the backdoor power sinker that you have no chance of hitting, because it's starting off the plate and coming back to you. And like Dusty used to say, that's paralysis. They ain't hitting that. And so we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And so
and then come full circle. Now we're looking at tonight, one more time in the heavyweight ring. It's got Madison Bumgarner and
that's
Adam
right.
Wainwright. It's just battle of the top aces. Wainwright, we've seen noticeable difference in the way that he's thrown in the postseason as opposed to the regular season. I heard one of the things they said on the broadcast last night is that he said his stride was out of place. His landing spot, I believe he said, was a foot off one way or the other. And in doing so, he noticed this, and he said he's been feeling a lot better in the pin sessions he's had since his last start. So, again, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with these guys tonight. And again, They always say, I know this is a cliche, but they say the closeout game is the hardest. And I mean, is it, is just the fact that the other team just basically has nothing to lose at this point?
Well, yeah. What's going to happen is you don't want to play tomorrow. That's the whole thing. That's the pressure, is you don't want to play tomorrow. So you're trying to, put everything together and the focus. So you don't want to make any mistakes. And, you're just hoping that somebody in front of you is going to do something.
Yep.
You're hoping that your pitcher is going to, make that pitch, or,
have another lengthy start by Bumgarner again. That would be a perfect scenario.
You better believe it. They're leaning on him big time.
Yeah.
Because I think that now, again, if there's a weakness, Adam Wainwright does have a little issue with the elbow going on. So if you see him leading with that elbow, and you see him kind of missing with his command a little bit, if he's got to go to that breaking ball early like he did last time and he had 50 pitches after 2 innings.
Yeah.
And half of them were curveballs. So you can imagine what the stress that he put on his arm.
Yeah.
If they can get him to do that, I would have to say that the Giants have an advantage.